everyone, this is Jenn Peris with Champ Body, and today we're going to do about 6 different postures for low back. I get a lot of questions and comments from riders saying that they have a lot of discomfort in their low back, and of course, first and foremost, if there is a problem, you should get that checked out. But there are definitely some things that we can do that can kind of help get some synovial fluid moving, get some stretching, get some movement in that spine that will give us some relief. Today we're going to do them all on the ground. So if you have a mat or just an open space on the ground, you can join along. So I'm going to show you the exercises. You can do them for longer on your own, but hopefully they'll give you some relief. So we're going to start in what's called tabletop position. So that's going to be us coming onto our hands and our knees. And what we're going to do is we're going to place our hands a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. And then we're going to turn our hands out slightly. So our pointer fingers point out. And we're going to go ahead and walk our knees back so that our knees are under our hips. And you're going to press the tops of your feet firmly into the ground. Press your hands into the ground, and we're going to come into what's called cat. So from here, we're going to drop our chin, round our spine, tuck our tailbone, and really come into like a nice Halloween cat. Pushing the ground away, pressing down into the ground with the tops of our feet, with our hands, getting a nice curve to our spine, and then moving into cow. So dropping your chin, dropping your chest, lifting your chin, spreading your sit bones, getting a nice arch through the spine, really exaggerating the arch, really spreading the sit bones, dropping the chest, lifting the chin, don't crank the neck. And then move with your breath. Cat and cow. And so most stretches and sequences that focus on pain in the back or stretching for the back will almost always include cat-cow. So cat-cow is fundamental. It's a great warm-up for healthy spines. For anyone who has back pain, it gets synovial fluid moving through the spine, and it's a wonderful way to get some openness. So come back into tabletop position, and what we're going to want to do is replant our hands, replant our feet, and then we're going to wag our tail. So from here, we're going to move our chin towards our hip and our hip towards our chin, really kind of twisting in, using those obliques, again pressing through the hands and the feet to really get a nice stretch and articulation in the spine. So you will hear that twists and bends and different articulations of the spine are very healthy. So what we want to do is we really want to gain space, relieve discomfort, and get some fluid moving through the spine. And one of the best ways to do that is through different articulations. So we're just going to wag our tail about 5 to 7 times and then come back into a neutral tabletop position. From here, we're going to move into what's called puppy pose. And puppy pose is great as a chest opener as well as elongating the spine. So again, keeping your feet and your hips exactly where they are, what we're going to do is we're going to walk our hands forward. So we're going to walk our hands, keeping everything else where it is, really stretching through our side body. And as soon as your hands are as far as they go ahead and relax your head towards the ground. If your head doesn't reach the ground, you could also put a pillow or a block to relax your head. And then really, again, press your hands into the ground and press away, pushing your hips back. And then press down through your feet to kind of almost traction your spine between your hands and your feet. When you've taken about 5 to 7 breaths in puppy pose, go ahead and come back up into tabletop. and we're gonna do a couple variations of child's pose. So the first one we're gonna do is we're gonna bring our toes together and we're gonna bring our knees wide. So in child's pose, this is probably one of the more traditional ways to do it. Knees are wide, toes are together, and we're gonna walk forward just like we did in puppy pose. So again, walking, 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 hinging at the hips, not rounding the spine. We're really walking our hands forward. Again, getting that nice stretch in our side body equally on both sides. And we're gonna press down into the earth again, into the ground with our hands, so we can push our hips back in towards our heels and drop our heads. Again, relaxing your head towards your mat, towards your pillow, towards your block, and really feeling that stretch. This is nice on your hips as well as your spine. And take 5 to 7 breaths there. Come on back up, and we're gonna do a second variation of child's pose. So the other way to do it is to bring your knees together, connect your heels, connect your toes, go ahead and bring everything squeezed into that midline. We're gonna do the same exact forward fold, but what we're gonna feel is we're gonna feel like our knees are in our way. So as we fold forward and we compress onto the tops of our knees in this variation of child's pose, it's almost as if it becomes a little bit more difficult to breathe, which forces our breath into our back body. So what I want you to see and what I want you to feel is I want you to feel how your breath, as you deepen your breath in this forward fold and it moves into the back side of your back, how the breath itself is going to help you stretch. And again, pressing down through your hands, pressing the hips back, compressing the ribs into the knees and breathing into your back. Feeling your back body raise with your breath and fall with your exhale. And really have your breath assist you in opening up space in your back. And when you're done, go ahead and come on up. Then we're going to go ahead and thread the needle. So we're going to go ahead and come back up onto our hands and knees in that tabletop position. Go ahead and spread our feet, pressing the tops of the feet into the ground. And I'm only going to demonstrate one side, but we're going to go ahead and raise our left hand up into the sky and go ahead and thread it underneath our body. And then what we want to do, I know this is a little bit awkward, is use the back of the hand as resistance to help the body twist. And then go ahead and walk that top hand forward. Again, re-engage the tops of the feet onto the ground, looking up under that arm, getting a nice spinal twist. Working the back of your head towards the floor, trying to raise that elbow up so you're getting a nice chest and shoulder opener. Go ahead and release, and you go ahead and repeat that on the other side. So the next thing that we are going to do is pigeon. So there's lots of different ways to get into pigeon pose. The way we're going to get into it today, since we're already towards child's pose, is we're just going to go ahead and bring our knee forward and outside of our hip. So one thing that we want to do is make sure that our hips are square and our chest is square. So if you feel for your hip points, you feel your shoulders, they should all be in one line. I'm going to go ahead and change directions just for a minute to kind of show you a couple of things I'm talking about. So the tendency, if we don't have the openness in our hips and in our back, is to kind of roll onto the outside of our hip. Back knee bends, we're not getting a good hip opener, we're not getting anything good for our spine or sciatica, which this is a common stretch for people who suffer with sciatica. So what we want to do is if you need a bolster, get a bolster, or just go ahead and hover. It's fine. What we want, again, is our hips and our shoulders square, and then we just want to naturally begin to descend. So eventually we're moving towards the ground. It doesn't matter how far you go. If you practice this every day, you'll get closer to the ground every day. If you're there and you're thinking, this is nothing, I want to go deeper, then what we can do is you can bring that front foot further away from your pelvis. So the further away the front foot is from the pelvis, the deeper the stretch, the closer the heel is to the pelvis, usually the more gentle the stretch. Nothing about this is usually gentle, so be kind to yourself. Again, if anything hurts, just don't do it. And then if you feel comfortable, you can go ahead and bend forward. So I'm only going to demonstrate this on the one side, but again, this is pigeon. You would alternate sides, and you can stay in pigeon for a really long time. This is a great one that if you want to have a conversation about what's going right or wrong on track, or you're sitting at home watching TV, do it in pigeon. This is a great hip opener, great for your back, great for anyone who has sciatica. And go ahead and bring your knees together. We're going to go ahead and roll onto our backs. Nice tight squeeze, one little ball. And go ahead and release it all out. And that's it. You guys just did a nice quick sequence to help lower back. We've got lots more things for backs, so keep checking in, but let us know how that works. And again, if there's anything else you'd like to hear more about, please let us know in the comments. If you like the ride shirt from YCRS, that's on ridelikechampion.com, and we'll see you soon. Thanks.